Shortly after the release of Pokémon Sword and Shield, many Pokémon fans' attention began to slowly shift from the Generation 8 titles to the seemingly right around the corner Pokémon Diamond and Pearl remakes. However, that all abruptly changed on us this last week when Game Freak dropped a bombshell on us announcing the Pokémon Sword and Shield expansion pass coming in 2 parts later this year, which effectively means we are not going to get Diamond and Pearl remakes at least until next year. So with this big shakeup in Pokemon's possible release schedule going forward, I wanted to talk today about what the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion could possibly mean for Diamond and Pearl remakes, and how it could possibly affect the remakes, and what is in the expansion currently can tell us about what we might see in the remakes as well. There's actually more about the remakes that we can glean from the expansion than you might think, so without any further ado, why don't we go ahead and take a look. The first and most obvious thing that the expansion does to affect the potential Diamond and Pearl remakes is of course the release date. As I said at the beginning of the video, many people thought that we might be getting Diamond and Pearl remakes in 2020, but thanks to the expansion, that is definitely not going to happen, and the earliest possible date that we could now see Diamond and Pearl remakes is going to be in 2021. However, even though that does mean we have to wait yet another year for these games to even potentially get announced and released, 2021 is by far the most likely year for Diamond and Pearl remakes happening that we have ever seen to this point, and is most likely going to be the year when we finally get the game. I say this not only because of the general timing of it all and it just seeming like it's about time for it to finally happen, but 2021 specifically is not only the 15th anniversary of Diamond and Pearl themselves, but it's also the 25th anniversary of the entire Pokemon franchise. And if 2016 and the 20th anniversary of Pokemon is anything to go by, we absolutely can be sure that they are going to do something to celebrate this 20th anniversary. And what better thing to celebrate the 25th anniversary with than the Diamond and Pearl remakes that are not only extremely sought after by fans, but are also celebrating their 15th anniversary as well. To me, this seems like an absolute no-brainer and just about as close to an actual guarantee as you could possibly get, so even though we do have to wait 1 extra year thanks to the Sword and Shield expansions, we are going to get the Diamond and Pearl remakes in a year that they truly fit the best in, and this time around, it is most likely finally going to be officially happening. Moving on from release dates though, one of the things about the Sword and Shield expansions that could very well tell us something about what the gameplay of the Diamond and Pearl remakes is going to be like is the fact that both of the areas introduced in the Sword and Shield expansion are completely and seamlessly open world. This could very well mean that the Diamond and Pearl remakes are going to follow suit as well, and the reason why we can infer this is because of the way Game Freak like to develop their games over time. Game Freak has stated that when they are developing Pokemon games for any given generation, that they like to leave themselves some room to improve so that every Pokemon game on a given system is just a little bit different than the last, so they're not all too similar to each other, and so that every game can see an improvement to the entire franchise as a whole, so the entire franchise as a whole doesn't become somewhat stagnant with its progression. And with the Sword and Shield expansion, we are seeing this development philosophy on full display, because while we saw a portion of the map in Pokemon Sword and Shield as open world, we are seeing the entirety of the map in the Sword and Shield expansion as open world instead. And granted, the areas in the Sword and Shield expansion probably aren't going to be as big as an entire region, mind you, but just the simple fact that the entirety of the area in these expansions is open world shows you how they are slowly but surely gravitating and improving to that state where we will one day be completely open world with our Pokemon games. And that means that the Diamond and Pearl remakes that are likely going to follow the expansions will continue to push that idea forward. The one thing that does make it a little bit tricky when it comes to the idea of the Diamond and Pearl remakes being completely open world is the idea that it is indeed a remake. And obviously the original had linear routes and was not open world. So just to stay true to the idea of the originals, Game Freak might very well go with the original routes and have some sense of linearity. However, with that said, I still do fully expect there to be some kind of open world area in the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and even if we don't get the completely open world experience in these games, thanks to the fact that they are remakes, we can definitely expect moving forward that the next game afterwards will definitely be almost completely, if not entirely completely, open world, which is a very, very exciting thing to think about. The next thing I want to talk about I touched on briefly in a previous video, and that would be the Reggie Connection. Now, as you all know, in the Sword and Shield expansion, not only are we getting the return of the Reggies, but we're also getting 2 new Reggies as well, which is an unprecedented move for Game Freak and the Pokémon Company. However, as exciting as that move is in and of itself, it also has a lot of implications for what could be on the way, because, as I'm sure you all know, Reggie Gigas, who is the leader of the Reggies, resides in the Sinnoh region, and with Diamond and Pearl remakes once again seeming like they're right around the corner, the inclusion of new Reggies at this time seems very, very interesting and a little bit too convenient to just be a random standalone thing. It's very likely that the inclusion of these new Reggies does indeed confirm that Diamond and Pearl remakes are getting closer to an announcement and release, and not only that, I think we will be able to expect these Reggies having some role to play in the Diamond and Pearl remakes as well, which also means that Reggie Gigas will likely have its own role to play and likely expanded from the days of Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum thanks to the 2 new Reggies in the story of the Diamond and Pearl remakes, which is a very exciting prospect to say the least. The next thing I want to get into here is more of a bold prediction compared to some of the other likely guarantees that I've already talked about, and that would be the idea of Sinnoh regional variants being introduced in the Diamond and Pearl remakes. The reason why I think this is possible based on what we are seeing in the Sword and Shield expansion is because of the fact that they are continuing to add even more Galarian forms in the expansion past the ones that we got in the base Sword and Shield game. When the regional variant mechanic was introduced, we all thought it was amazing, but we also all thought that it was a little too good to be true in terms of it continuing to appear in subsequent Pokemon games, because this is the type of thing that Game Freak will keep exclusive to one game and never reintroduce again. However, to all of our surprise and delight, regional variants made their grand return in Sword and Shield in the form of Galarian forms, and not only did we get them returning, but we also got them improving as well, as not only did we get just as many forms as we did in Sun and Moon, but we also saw forms that weren't from Kanto, something that was not present when regional variants were introduced in the Gen 7 games. So because of this, Game Freak had no reason whatsoever to add even more Galarian forms on top of that. They gave us everything we could have possibly dreamed of in this department, even having regional variant forms get new evolutions as well, which is another new element of this mechanic, which just makes the whole feature that much better. They had already done everything that they needed to do in the base game. They had no reason whatsoever to continue to support this feature in the expansions, but the fact that they did, and they are doing it so strongly with not only more Galarian forms being added, but Galarian legendaries on top of that, tells me that they are committed to the idea of regional variants, and they are not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It would also just be extremely weird if they were to exclude regional variants in any generation or region going forward, now that they have introduced it in a second generation. This is the type of thing, given how it works within the Pokemon world as a whole, that you either have to keep exclusive to one region, meaning that it's a special thing that happens in only one part of the world, or you have to have it in basically the entire world because it's simply creatures adapting to different environments. So now that we already have it in a second region in Galar, it just seems like it's inevitable that it has to happen in all of the other regions as well. And the last thing that the expansions could tell us about the Diamond and Pearl remakes that I'm going to touch on here is the idea that DLC could now also be possible for the Diamond and Pearl remakes as well. Now, before all of you start freaking out, I am in no way suggesting that anything from the original Diamond and Pearl games is going to be held back in DLC. I 1000% expect everything from the Diamond and Pearl games, and likely Platinum as well, to make its way into the Diamond and Pearl remakes. However, that does not mean that DLC could be possible to add on to the experience of those remakes as well. Now that the ice has officially been broken and DLC within Pokemon games is officially a thing, I could definitely see it becoming more of a standard practice where some type of DLC is offered for most, if not all, of the future main series games. When it comes to remakes though, it is a little bit trickier because, as I said in a previous point, all of the content within the game, given that it is a remake, is essentially already set in stone. So unless you want to add some new original content on top of that as DLC, which is entirely possible, you pretty much have all of the content and everything that's going to be in the game already established for you. But that is why I think DLC for the Diamond and Pearl remakes, given that DLC is now a thing, is completely possible because it allows the game to be true to its roots and having all of the original content, while at the same time adding more on top of that as well, but not doing it in a way that completely changes the entire experience. The base game is still the Diamond and Pearl you know and love, but if you would like to add even more on top of that, say more story or Sinonian forms or different things like that, you can do so with DLC. That way, you can stay true to all of the content that Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum had in their games and include all of it as well, but then from there, the sky is the limit in terms of what you want to add because you're adding it as optional DLC. It's really a best of both worlds scenario, honestly, and like I said, simply due to the fact that DLC is now a thing within Pokemon, I definitely think it is possible for the Diamond and Pearl remakes as well. Well, there you have it everybody. The Pokemon Sword and Shield expansions are shaping up to be pretty fantastic, so if these are any indication, then the Diamond and Pearl remakes are definitely going to be pretty special as well. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and let me know all of your thoughts about all of this in the comments below as well. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe as well for more Pokemon content like this all the time, and if you would like to support the channel further, you can do so by checking out my Pokemon remixes on Spotify and checking out my Pokemon Cardinal project if you haven't yet. With all of that being said, I'll be back on Tuesday with another video, so hit that notification bell so you can know when it goes live, and until the next one, as always, I love you guys very much, and I will smell you guys later.